Hello, everyone, and welcome to a new episode of Hooked on Sports here on Apple Podcasts and Spotify and wherever you get your podcasting streaming services. My name is John Flynn, and thank you so very much for listening to this episode of Hooked on Sports today. So, it is a surprise. We get a Saturday edition of the podcast today because there's going to be so much that's going to be happening over the weekend. Throughout the NFL and the college ranks and the whole and the whole head coaching carousel, unlike anything we've seen before. We want to see what happens with Lane Kiffin's decision between Ole Miss and LSU, which is probably to me the big domino that's going to fall out of this. So I'm looking forward to that, but. Yeah, but it's going to be definitely packed on Tuesday nonetheless. So I want to make sure that I get my takes from the Thanksgiving games and Black Friday out of the way before, just so we can just so you can go back and look at and whether you're listening on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, wherever your podcasting streaming services, or on the YouTube channel. Yeah, you have them as reference points for the games coming up. So we got some big takes from all 8 teams that played on Thanksgiving and Black Friday. So I think we're going to go in chronological order here when talking about these games. But first of all, let's start with the opener on Thursday between the Packers and the Lions. Packers heard about it, and this is a two-headed. All these games are two-headed monsters worth of takes because the slate was unbelievable, but. So, but the Packers are show that they are one of the best teams in the NFL, and they showed that they can win different styles of fight in their win over the Lions. And the Packers were in a tough spot, having to go on the road, playing a team that already that they had already beaten. Thinking they would have some extra motivation to get in something in the win column, but Jordan Love was terrific. Out of the 8 quarterbacks that played the last 2 days, Jordan Love was by far the best and most impressive. 18 of 30, 234 yards, 4 touchdowns, 2 to Dontavian Wicks, 1 to Christian Watson, 1 to Romeo Doubs, 0 interceptions, a passer rating over 120, and he was simply superb. And I also love the play calling and the aggressive nature of the play calling by Matt LaFleur. And there is a reason the Packers are consistent playoff contenders under Matt LaFleur. Matt LaFleur gets the best out of his players. He puts in a great system. Of course, he learned from other tremendous coaches like McVay and Shanahan. And he is doing the best he can to maximize what Jordan Love can be now. And the thing about Jordan Love is he is having the best season of his career so far, and he has been playing at a high level. So for the better part of the season, and his in the last 3 weeks, Jordan Love has scored 2 scores of 90 or above on Pro Football Focus, and looking at the games, looking at the film, it kind of matches what I think. I did not see a single ball that was interceptable on the part of Jordan Love. I saw confidence. I saw poise. I saw trust in the running game with Josh Jacobs, so making some key runs, and the defense stepped up when it mattered in the first half, when the Lions were at their most vulnerable after the injury to Amon-Ra St. Brown. So the Packers established a tone early. So they go out and make it a 1-2 possession game, and then they executed the plays in the fourth quarter to win the game. And on that last drive, there were two plays of note that really struck me. One was a 3rd and 5 with under 3 minutes left. The Lions had one timeout left. So he completes a pass he completed that pass on 3rd and 5 at their own 40-yard line to Christian Watson for a first down. And then after the 2-minute warning, the Packers had a 4th and 3 from the Lions' 45-yard line, and they went for it, and Jordan Love found Tavian Wicks for a great 16-yard catch by Wicks to seal the deal. And those were plays that conventional wisdom says you don't call, but I love the coaches that have the guts to call these passing plays. So because it shows a willingness that you believe that you have a plan you can execute brilliantly, and that's what the Packers did. So fantastic win for the Packers. They are now 8-3. And the Lions have flunked the eye test the last 2 weeks. And really, the Lions have not played the part of Super Bowl contender all year. And yeah, they had the benefit of Shane Bowen, who they faced on Sunday, and the Giants rightfully fired him the next day. So, but the Lions couldn't make a big time stop when it couldn't make the big stop that would give their team a chance to win the game. The Lions were the defense. They were 9-15 on 3rd and 4th downs of the whole game, and they couldn't get off the field when it mattered the most, and Amon-Ra St. Brown got hurt in the first quarter, and that was definitely a monster issue for the Lions. So. And the pass rush wasn't there either. That Aiden Hutchinson's taken a big step back, and really this is kind of the result of him recover just a year out from that devastating ACL tear he suffered in the beginning of last season. And this Lions team right now is on the outside looking in when you look at the NFC. So. I right now don't see a scenario where the Lions make the playoffs, and because the Lions got Dallas next Thursday night, they got the Rams coming up. They still have a game against the Bears coming up. So I think the Lions are in trouble, and I really debated. Between putting the Lions or the Packers or the Bears, I was going to pick 3 of those 4 teams to win to make the playoffs. At least 2 of them are in the Bears and the Packers, but I'm not so sure about Detroit right now, and unless they beat Dallas next week, I don't see how the Lions make the playoffs right now. In the NFC. Bad job this offseason by Brad Holmes. I did not like the draft process. I did not like who they picked in the draft. So they weren't prepared for Frank Ragnall's sudden retirement. Now Ragnow is suddenly out of retirement, but how is he going to look after a brief 6-month retirement? That remains to be seen, and how they're going to incorporate him into the mix, that remains to be seen as well. So I am very, very concerned though about the Detroit Lions. Now on to the Chiefs and the Cowboys. I told you the Cowboys were going to beat the Kansas City Chiefs on Thanksgiving, and why? Because the Cowboys had the better quarterback. They had a more trustworthy defense, and Dak Prescott when he has a team around him that can elevate his play, he can definitely do some big time things. And now the Cowboys have won 3 straight as is coming off the bye week. I loved how the way the Cowboys overcame adversity. Dak throws an ugly-looking interception, the second play of the game. So the Chiefs turn that to a touchdown, make it 7-0, and then immediately the Cowboys respond with a touchdown drive of their own. And then Dak Prescott just kept making some big throws, and they were able to find some balance offensively as well. And then they did enough to hold on, made enough plays at the end to hold off a fourth quarter to overcome some fourth quarter magic from Patrick Mahomes. But now you look at the Dallas Cowboys, they've won 3 straight, and with the loss by the Eagles, they're only they're only 1.5 games back in the NFC East. So now, and when you look at the Cowboys and you look at the Eagles, there is a realistic thing about this, is that looking ahead to their schedule. They've got the Lions, they've got the Vikings, they got the Chargers, they've got the Washington Commanders on Christmas Day, and then they found up the regular season at MetLife against the Giants. And looking at that schedule, the Dallas Cowboys, yes, the Cowboys can absolutely run the table and win the NFC East. That is one of the most absurd things that came from my mouth this year, especially after the Cowboys traded All-Pro Micah Parsons to Green Bay earlier this year, earlier in the offseason. Yeah, but now they have a good culture in place. Brian Schottenheimer's done a really nice job with this team, getting them focused and getting them ready to play. This offense is humming. They're playing at a high level. In the 3 games since the bye week, the Cowboys have averaged nearly 29 points a game, 24 first downs a game, and 437 total yards of offense per game. So what a tremendous victory for the Dallas Cowboys. And again, they were the better team. And then you look at the Chiefs, say the Chiefs are in a world of trouble, because if you look at where the Chiefs stand, that they right now are at a crossroads of their own. They're 6-6 now, and they're behind Jacksonville, behind the Chargers, behind the Buffalo Bills, all teams that have already beaten Kansas City. And if those teams win, it's going to be the effect of them being of the Chiefs being 2 games or 3 games behind them with 5 weeks to go, and I don't think that's going to result in the Chiefs making the playoffs. So I knew last week's win against the Colts was a fluke, and now going into what I think is going to be a turbulent December. I think it's going to be one where the Chiefs are going to be left out of the playoff race there. So you have that. Oh, and by the way, speaking to Micah Parsons, so he came up big for the Packers in their win over the Lions, where he registered 2.5 sacks on Jared Goff in that game. So you had that. And this leads us to the other game that took place on Thursday, and it was the nightcap of the triple header between Baltimore and Cincinnati. And my takeaway from this game, and the popular takeaway from this, is that Joe Burrow comes back. So Bengals out more than double the Ravens score, and the Bengals are back back in business. Now, I'm going to say hold your engines on that, because I am not completely sold on that, because it was because the Bengals have been so inconsistent and poorly coached, especially defensively, for me to officially declare the Bengals are back. And now the Bengals are 4-8. The Steelers are in first place with a record of 6-5. They could, if the Steelers beat Buffalo tomorrow tomorrow, they'll be 7-5 on the season. 3 games separated the two teams, with Baltimore at 6-6. But the real takeaway for me is that if Lamar Jackson is not 100% healthy, and he is clearly not 100% healthy, and it was clear. So watching the game and watching his sprint speed compared to what it was in week 1 and before the hamstring injury, if Lamar Jackson plays like this and he's not completely healthy, the Baltimore Ravens are dead on arrival. I mean, so it's nice that the Ravens reeled off 5 straight wins, but the general competition was just not up to par, and that means that it's there. And remember, Lamar Jackson won league MVP 2 years ago. So he was runner-up for MVP in 24, and he made a great case to be the MVP. Ultimately wound up being Josh Allen, because Allen was more important to Buffalo than Lamar was to Baltimore, because of the impact that Derrick Henry had on the offense. But whatever. But you had the combination of that, and the Ravens weren't particularly great on defense either. Now it's Burrow, but I'm not sold on Burrow, because he barely completed 50% of his passes, and he made some good throws to Jamar Chase, and didn't turn the ball over a lot, like what happened with Baltimore, and it was a total mess for that with the Ravens. 5 turnovers, including 4 fumbles, including 2 lost fumbles by Lamar Jackson. In that he was not even sharp, not even close to being sharp. An abysmal performance by Lamar Jackson on Thursday night. So maybe we'll have a problem in the conversation about that. And the last thing, what's happening with the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, the Philadelphia Eagles are officially in a crisis. The Philadelphia Eagles, up 21-0 against the Dallas Cowboys, is ready to make a statement, ready to wrap up the NFC East. So they blow that big lead, and they can't even get out of their own way, because there's so many problems, both offensively and defensively, in that game. And first of all the problems, there's more of a bigger issue on offense than there is defense, because Jalen Hurts was dreadful last night. Jalen Hurts had incredible opportunities to make big time throws, and he was missing Devontae Smith. He was not connecting with his main receivers. And it really just amounted to a complete hodgepodge of inaccurate throws. Now, so AJ Brown, it was nice that he got the ball, 10 catches, 132 yards, 2 touchdowns for Philadelphia last night. So, but the fact that the Eagles ran 34 passing plays, and just 17 running running plays against that woeful Bears defense, especially after how that opening drive ended for the Bears, where they got stopped on 4th and inches, meaning with great opportunity for the Eagles to run the ball. So, the play calling was atrocious. The plan by Kevin Petula was atrocious, and there were a lot of things about that, and you're starting to see what Jalen Hurts is without an elite offensive coordinator. He's just not that just hasn't been that guy right now, and yes, Jalen Hurts won a Super Bowl. He played a great playoffs last year, so thanks to an elite offensive coordinator. So, but man, there's a lot of things to be going around there, and also what doesn't help is the Eagles without Lane Johnson, and Lane Johnson is one of the most important players on the team, and him not being there, and a Lisfranc fracture, as the Giants learned with Andrew Thomas. It takes a long time to really heal from that. So the Eagles' offensive line play has not been good, and I think what was most concerning for the Philadelphia Eagles was that they couldn't stop the run. That they gave up 281 yards of rushing last night. 130 yards on 22 carries for Kyle Monangai and a touchdown. 125 rush yards on 18 carries and a touchdown for DeAndre Swift, and the fact that they got pummeled, they got spanked, they got embarrassed on Amazon Prime, despite Caleb Williams turning in one of his worst performances of the season. 17 or 36, 154 yards, touchdown, interception, 56.9 passer rating. The fact that the Eagles still got spanked with that stat line from the opposing quarterback, that's a big problem of its own. So I think the honeymoon is over for the defending Super Bowl champions. I think there's going to be a different representative in the NFC this year. The Eagles coaching staff has not shown willingness to making adjustments on offense. And then what about that tush push? When the Eagles stood trying to go towards the end zone, deep in Bears territory, and Jalen Hurts coughs it up after getting the first down, and the Bears recovered, and I felt the entire feel the game shift from there. So, an atrocious performance by Philadelphia, and you gotta have to give the Chicago Bears some credit here. The Bears are playing some superb football right now because the Bears have reeled off 7 consecutive wins, and I thought the most impressive was going to Philly and beating the living heck out of the defending Super Bowl champions, and Ben John, and the fact that Caleb Williams was pedestrian and the Bears played like this, and yeah, Caleb Williams did not look great, and he's been so inconsistent that and it's like whenever he takes 2 steps forward, he takes 2 steps back, and the fact that the Bears completely botched the whole leadership situation after they secured the rights to draft him, is simply comical. But Ben Johnson's doing an amazing job. He is gonna be in the consideration for Coach of the Year. I mean, there are a lot of great candidates for Coach of the Year this year. I'm looking at Liam Cohen's got a case. Mike Vrabel's got a case. Ben Johnson has a case. And of course, Sean McVay has to be in that conversation. But the Bears are 9-3. They're in first place in the NFC North, and it sets up a tremendous matchup in Green Bay against Jordan Love and Matt LaFleur and the Packers. It'll be the biggest game of the NFL season to date when the two teams collide at Lambeau. Of course, the historic division rivals. One of the best rivalries in the NFL. The two teams do not, and the two fan bases have extreme dislike of each other, and it's going to be a great sporting event. And I'm happy the NFL flexed that game from 1 p.m. to 4:25 for that one because it's going to be a fantastic game. And I can't wait to preview that game in detail next week on Thursday when I preview the games for Week 14 and for the game of the week. So I can't wait for that. So I just wanted to post a brief episode today to get my takes in from the last couple of days of action in the NFL. So I can't wait to talk about all the drama that's going to unfold in the NFL and in college over the college football over the next few days and other things that transpire in the NBA and other things as well. So until next time, this is John Flynn saying so long. I'll be back here on the podcast probably on Tuesday. So take care, everybody, and so long.